Hello YouTubers, welcome to World Cinema Reviews. This is Frank the Vamp, and today we're going to talk about a very special film, our first Canadian film. And if you're talking Canadian horror, you must be talking about David Cronenberg. And David Cronenberg, if you haven't heard of him, is just awesome master of horror. Why do I say that? Well, let's talk about some films. What about The Brood? Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of Scanners, Videodrome, The Dead Zone, the 1986 remake of The Fly, Dead Ringers, the awesome Naked Lunch, Crash, Existence, History of Violence, Eastern Promises, and we can go on and on and on. This guy cranks up great, awesome films. He's just an awesome director, and we're gonna talk about one of his early work here from 1977, the film Rabid. And Rabid, starring the very beautiful Marilyn Chambers, and Frank Moore. And we have this film as an early zombie film, and this zombie film is just awesome because it has like it has so many elements that have been reused, and it's just, what can I say, that you can see the true awesomeness of Mr. Cronenberg here, because so many of the elements of this film has been reused by other films, and as we talk about it, we're gonna get to know. And Rabbit, basically, it's a very basic story. The beautiful Marilyn Chambers playing Rose, with her male companion. They're riding motorcycle, Canadian countryside, I believe somewhere near Montreal, Quebec, and unfortunately, they have an unfortunate motorcycle accident. Um, you know, Rose, which is the character played by Marilyn Chambers, uh, actually, suffers extremely serious injuries, death-threatening injuries, and her male companion suffers some injuries, but not serious. But because it happens to be that they crash near this hospital, which is specializes in plastic surgery, they try to do some radical new surgery where they use skin graft and genetic cell regeneration to make to fix her because of her numerous injuries and burns from the motorcycle crashing and burning. And when they do that, actually what happens is that Rose gets this bad side effect, which by doing the genetic altering, she develops this organic phallic snake-like thing that comes out of her armpit. And basically what it does is that to the unsuspected person that's near her, just looks for any vulnerable place in the body, especially a vein, to start sucking some blood. And however, the people that she attacks become rabid. They get this rabbit-like um, infection, sort of like a rabid dog thing. But turns out this is not rabies. This is a zombie outbreak. And man, what? How can I? And that's pretty much the simple plot. Then, well, as this being one of the first, pandemic type of spread of infection type of thing. It reminds me of so many movies that are done today. 28 Days Later will be one of them. You know, treating the zombies more of a health outbreak more than a supernatural phenomenon. And it's just so that makes it more creepy and nightmarish because this is so real. It feels real, feels like it could totally happen. And whoever she infects throughout, with that phallic contraption she has inside her, mutation, whatever you call it, then they become zombies with in a short amount of time. Then they go on and bite people and infect them, and so on and so on until it becomes a problem that it's rampaging throughout Montreal. And what are some of the awesome things about this film? Um, I think nightmarish images. Once again, I keep repeating this. Uh, in all films that I admire, I just like the fact that I can transport myself inside the screen with the director, and the director wants me to feel trapped. Uh, this beautiful, beautiful woman that you want to be near her, but after you find out her secret, you really don't want to be anywhere near her because death is what's going to follow, and sort of a black widow, if you will. And what does this remind me of? So many films. What about Species? This predatory woman, and this, seems like a lot of films have borrowed from this. I can't, officially confirm it, but you see, a bunch of films that they borrow from this, and that they borrow from the Contagion. And one thing that I like is that this film also deals a lot with the martial law type of aspect of the government trying to fight off and kill the infected. And they don't try to cure them really, and they just want to shoot them and kill them because there's no cure. And they um, this mutated virus, whatever it is just awful. And like I said, this idea, I can think of maybe perhaps the Resident Evil movies, genetic mutation, genetic experiments about beautification and regeneration of dead tissue. And we think, and an institute. So, we think about how many people would have borrowed from this film, how many other films, how many zombie films have spawned like this, and these are also fast zombies, by the way. They run. Uh, in fact, they are resourceful in a way. They seem to be able to use tools to get what they want. They be able to reason in some way, but just to kill and maim and eat flesh and things like that. And certainly bite them. It doesn't really say that they eat them, but it's implied. The film itself is not as gory, but if you see that thing in there with Marilyn Chambers there, that's one of the creepiest, darn horrible, weird thing you may even consider as sexual somewhat. I mean, and there's some implication of that, obviously, having someone of Miss Chambers' reputation, of course, but and certainly there's some of that. So if you like this film, obviously you want to see Miss Chambers, but my understanding is that she has other works that are much more explicit if you want to see her body and stuff. She has some sexy scenes in this, but that's not the main issue. That's not the main attraction here. The main attraction is that this is a nightmarish movie, well done. It kind of reminds me of Lamberto Bava's Demons, because it's sort of like this B movie that you kind of want to dismiss, and you've seen a lot, and you don't think it's going to be great. But when I was watching this movie, man, I didn't want to look away. I was just like, damn, this is good. This is good. This is entertaining, and that's what Mr. Cronenberg is doing. Feeding you an entertaining film. This is not going to be the only film. I really want to talk about The Brood, which really has some nightmarish visuals, which I love. and nightmare-inducing film, scary at times. Can seem cheesy sometimes, yeah. There's a B movie quality to it. Um, a little side notes. I think these were partly funded by the government of Canada. I can't confirm that 100%, but I believe I read that somewhere. And so these are like in no way big budget films. They were, but they're well done. And I think the same thing can be said about The Brood, which we're going to talk about in another video. And what can I say other than watch this film? It's scary, it's good, it's well done. Cheesy, I know, sometimes has some B movie qualities to it, but it's entertaining. You're gonna like this film. This is a popcorn film, just like Demons. They're not masterpieces by any means, but they're entertaining, and That's why I think you and I go to the movies for, right? To be entertained. So this is going to be an entertaining film, groundbreaking in some ways, like I said, because I believe that the type of of the things in this film have been copied over and over in other films. So definitely recommended. 2 thumbs up. Awesome film. Uh, go watch it. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant day. And because this was filmed in Montreal, I'm an international guy. So, au revoir, mes amis.